Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Perpetual Motion. Today, I'm doing a tier list. We're doing a tier list of how AI proof is this job or this industry. I don't know. I'll kind of have to make it up as I go, because some of these, I don't want to do 3,000 fucking tiles for every job ever. So I'm gonna try and group some things together, and we'll talk about some differences and whatnot. But yeah, let's get into it. So first things first, I want to say some of these takes on acting or something. Some of these takes are going to be based on, my opinion, maybe. Some of them I have a little data for, and there's lists around. So we'll go through this and then kind of show some stuff after. But yeah, so here we go. First, actor. I mean, listen. I did see the other day that there's an AI model or something. Maybe it's an actor. But I saw there was an AI model or an actor that was seeking an agency to be represented. So that's underway. Can AI do the acting thing? I think a big part of actors is people like actors as outside of the characters they play. So, if you didn't have I don't even know, a Robert Downey Jr. or a Chris Pratt, if those were AI and you didn't know that they were people and you were going to see them in other movies, it might change how you do it. I'm going to have to put it A, though. I'm putting it A, because I think there's a world where some AI can be actors. I mean, so much of acting now is CGI. You think about the amount of characters that aren't real people, and it's somebody wearing a bodysuit. And so it doesn't really get the same, face emotions. It becomes mostly speech emotion, which maybe AI is able to replicate. Maybe you see voice actors, become more of a thing, and more of the on-screen stuff is CGI or AI. I don't know. Who knows? But I'm going to put it at A. I think there's a chance. Thing is, I don't know if it's going to take jobs from known actors. I don't think that's going to happen. Because at the end of the day, I think generally directors pick who they cast. At least, for the most part, from what I know. So is the director going to pick an AI over, a well-established person? I don't know. But for new actors, maybe, yeah, for sure, definitely possible. So I'm going to put it A. If I could put it bottom, I guess this would be bottom of S. If I could put it bottom of S, I would, but it's going A. Next, I don't know what the hell this is. Mid-management. I'm gonna say mid-management for this one, which just the manager above your if you're working at a restaurant, you have a manager in store, but then there's a manager above them. That might be middle management. Or in a corporate job, it's just a manager that manages other managers. This job, I might have to go C tier. I need to add an F, though. I need to add an F tier. We're back. But yeah, this, if we're doing this as mid-management, yeah, I'm going C tier. I think a lot of the jobs that they perform probably can be done by AI, or just an upper manager with AI. I would assume upper management is going to try to, get more done more efficiently, and if they can, eliminate mid-management job, that's probably good for them, because mid-management is more expensive. You have to pay these people more than your other managers, and they're just overseeing your other managers. So if you can take that step out, you probably save some money on salary, and your people at the top are getting more done. So I think AI will, it'll eliminate few. I don't think it's not going to be a thing anymore. There's still going to be mid-management, but I think there's some risk there. Next, this looks like I want to say carpenter, because this is also in construction. Maybe this is construction management. I want to say this is construction though. This might be construction though. I'm gonna put this like woodworkers. Skilled tradesmen, we'll say. People that do a trade for something other like cabinetry. Not basic construction, but like fine trade. So maybe not plumbers, but like cabinetry, flooring. I'll put painters in here. I'm gonna say this is A tier. I would put it S, but actually no. I'm gonna put it S. I don't think AI is gonna be able to. You'd have to make some sophisticated ass robots. Painting, I could see some robots doing painting. But this is kind of becoming like an AI/robot risk, which theoretically are one and the same. But I think any cabinetry, any fine tradesman, I think you're good. Not Bob the Builder. Bob the Builder's general construction. This would be more like I don't think there's any characters that do this sort of thing. I don't know what I'm talking about. Not a very glamorous position usually. Very valuable. These people are very skilled though, but not usually glamorized, so no comparison. But gonna have to be S tier. I mean, there's some other sources we're gonna look at here that show some actually really, really interesting things. But let's get a bit more through this. Baker or chef. Is there another chef in here? Okay, we're gonna say cooks. S tier. Cooks, you're not gonna be able to replace it because AI can't taste. So even if they could, theoretically follow a recipe perfectly and combine, the mass of the internet's data, I don't think you'll be able to, especially at the top end, because chefs make new things and they do different things with food. So I don't think you're gonna be able to take a cook or a baker or a chef, maybe baker, but a chef's job with AI. No, you need some crazy fucking robots. S tier. Become a baker. Maybe not, entirely, but. Baker safe. So if you dream of being a baker, you're chilling. Make that dough. Okay, I'll stop. Next, we're gonna say this one's doctor. A tier, I think, because there's a mix. I think some of the jobs could probably be replaced. I think people have talked about that, like people that read X-rays or something. I think they're saying those jobs, like radiologist, I think that's what that's called. It seems like there's some jobs that could be replaced by AI in a doctor's office. I guess not in a doctor's office, but, that you would have had to have gotten a doctorate for previously. You could maybe even argue therapy. Like therapists or psychologists could be done through AI. Maybe not, though. Maybe not. Maybe there's a real valid point to being human there. But I think A tier, some of them could be replaced. Not all of them. I think you're generally pretty safe. Are there going to be less doctors needed? Maybe. Because maybe people use more telehealth stuff and AI to get info and get diagnosed. But I think you still have to go in person. I think this has to be A tier. You're pretty safe if you go doctor. Maybe not, something like radiologist or something else. I think things that require reading or measuring of digital something, that's going to be taken by AI for sure. I remember seeing a reel or a post or something about radiologists becoming concerned because AI was doing their job better than them, and I can see the fear. It's probably really scary. Even for people not in the industry, when it's like, holy cow, this digital thing is better at my job than I am, and I've spent a decade doing this. It's probably really scary, but at the same time, if something is better than a human at doing something, like just objectively better, use that thing. Why would we not get more accurate X-ray readings and other readings and measurements if we can? You would think that's the best option. And if that decreases the cost of healthcare, because less money is going in, because it's, easy AI tool instead of paying a radiologist, $150,000 a year or something. Shit, sign me up, man. Better and cheaper? You kidding me? You don't get that. So yeah, a couple jobs like that could be replaced, but I think generally speaking, you're not going to be asking Grok for your next prescription. At least that would be my guess. Okay, next, construction. Straight construction. Bing bong, S tier. There's a caveat here though. I might have to put it A. I think it's a stronger A tier though than either of these. I'm gonna do this then, because A is stronger, or actor's probably stronger than doctor. I'm assuming this is the bottom and this way is the top. I don't fucking know. It's my rules. I get to do it. But yeah, construction. I don't think it's going to be, you're not going to replace menial labor with AI, or I shouldn't say menial labor. I'll say labor. You're not going to be able to replace labor with AI. I did a little bit of construction, and yeah, I don't know if I see robots being able to do some of that shit, but there's a possibility that some of the jobs in this industry, I think, could be replaced. Very, very possible. Some of the management stuff, like we talked about with mid-management, probably not. Maybe architects. I don't know. I feel like that's a bit creative. Again, I think almost anything on this list, maybe a couple roles, a couple jobs will be lost just because the tools, the people that are in the roles already are going to become more efficient, and theoretically you need less of them. But yeah, I think general construction, maybe you even put this at the bottom of S tier, because there's just no way you can take these jobs with AI. It's a physical thing. AI is digital. It's a physical thing. I can't have Grok, build me a fucking home, let alone a skyscraper, let alone a patio, like anything. So S tier. Maybe I'll even put it at the top. Here, I'll do this. Probably like this. You're not going to take these guys' jobs before you take these guys' jobs. Let's see. Farmer S tier. Undeniable S tier. Not going to be able to take it. You just won't. Completely automated farms with no people? No, not a thing. Farmer, S tier, easy, end of discussion, no more context needed. Next, designer. Low-key B. I'm feeling a B here. Because yes, it's a physical thing. Yes, somebody has to do it. But I think at the same time, if AI gets to a point where it can, digitally model something, I think this could even get even further. Is imagine a world. AI is the designer, right? Nobody knows what fashion trends are going to be. That's why it's a trend, and you don't see it coming. This is why fashion is usually a bad industry to invest in, because you don't know what's coming. Nobody knows what's coming. You don't know what companies are going to hit it. Brands generally have sway, but you don't know what the public is going to like, and especially now, what's going to take off on social media and what influencers and celebrities are going to wear. You don't know. You have no way to guarantee that. But imagine a world where AI surfaces or generates clips of celebrities or influencers wearing specific clothing. Clothing hasn't been made yet. It's fake. It's generated, But then it puts them out on the internet, like leaks them, quote unquote leaks them, and they see what the comments react to in the clothing. They see what's mentioned, and then they move forward on the production of that thing. So I could see AI sneaking in here. Now, that's a crazy fucking world, but I think, shit, that's possible. Are you kidding me? If companies can find a way to be ahead of trends by artificially making the trend, they will. They will. That was actually a crazy pull. That would be insane if something like that happens, and that makes me want to rethink some of these other categories and go that deep into it. Like, could you do that with Baker? Not really, but yeah, I think I'm assuming this is like fashion, or maybe it's the clothing industry in general. Maybe if you make clothes, you're more secure. But I think that's why it's not C. But designers undeniably important. It's a creative field. I think I think people are really too worried about the creative fields on, if AI is going to take them. People talk about writers definitely at risk because AI can just generate text. But I think for most creative roles, the fear might be overblown. We'll have to see. But from what I can, from what I intuitively think, I'm not sold that AI is going to replace a bunch of creative jobs because, think about it. This is a take I've given a couple times here. I've told people in real life about this. This is, a take that I feel, is right now, big companies aren't doing as well in the creative field. Disney has been missing as like a big one to point out. I think big blockbuster movies haven't been received as well, and big blockbuster games or almost anything. I think the really mega corporate stuff is failing. And we've seen like for me, my experience comes very easily from video games. I can point out, really big games that have done not that great. Like Battlefield did well, and that was made by a really big studio. The COD did not do as well as it should have. A lot of the, Madden, FIFA, and NBA, people are pissed off at a lot of the big stuff. And there's a lot of smaller studios making games that are just fucking crushing it. Like, there'll be, there was a game, Schedule 1, that came out this year. Just like a guy, maybe two guys, I don't remember what it was, but they just put out this game, fucking millions of purchases within like a couple months. Game blew the fuck up. Tiny studio, I don't even know if I would say the game is well made, but it was fun, and it was it went viral, so people bought it. And I think that's been a trend, is that smaller studios are doing well. So my take is, if big companies, because I need to baseline this. Creative endeavors, generally speaking, I would say, are people trying to connect with people, whether it's a message or whatever you're trying to convey. There's a connection between two people, essentially. When you watch a movie, you're connecting with the vision the director had, or the actors had. You're connecting with them in some way. I think if big companies still run by people, and people are still making the product, I think if that can't connect with other people, I don't know how we expect AI to connect with people, especially if it's being used by those big companies, which is, I think, generally where most people would look to say this is where it's going to be adopted first. So I think creative fields are probably chilling, which I guess here, this looks like graphic design. I'm going to put this B tier, though. I would say most creative fields are probably chilling. Now, for just random, if you're making Instagram posts for your company or something, you might be a little bit more at risk. But at the end of the day, if you're creative and you have good ideas that, are received well by the public, you're fine. AI can't generate those ideas. It might give you starting points, and, it might have a good idea every now and then. But I think to consistently deliver creative, captivating things, I don't know if AI is going to be able to do that. The best AI videos I've seen so far are like the dog, or like a dog being on the doorstep of some elderly couple, and the dog just blows up, or like a tank doing the same thing.
Well, aren't you a cute little tank?
For the most part, sometimes you find yourself watching them and you're like, is this AI? And people know, and I don't know if I personally have ever felt a certain way because a video was AI or not. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I've watched more AI or non-AI content recently. Probably non-AI. And AI arguably is to a point where it can make the content that you would watch, and I wouldn't be terribly worried. Here, let me add more files to this. Okay, next, firefighter, S tier. Enough said. You're not going to be able to take this person's job with AI. Reporter, I might go B tier. Simply because if it's pure audio only describing a situation, you can very easily have AI do that. You can give it enough emotion to be convincing. If you need like a physical person, there's still a chance it could be AI. It's almost like the actor take, but I think it's lower than actor because people aren't as tied, I would say, to like their newscasters or reporters. There's definitely personalities, especially in like sports. You got like Stephen A. Smith or something. Like that guy's job is not at risk of AI. Again, though, small local news stations or just random announcing of an event on radio, potentially AI, potentially could be taken. I'm going B tier. I think if you're really good at this, again, if you're creative, if you have a personality, if you're good at this thing, you'll be fine. If you're just proficient at the thing, I would look for something to get good at. Judge. I'm going to also group this in with lawyer, unless I see another. I don't really see another lawyer here. So I'm going to say judge/lawyer. We're going A. I don't know if we can do S. Fuck, I think you might have to do... Because I've seen, people try and use AI lawyers or something, or try and, represent themselves with the help of AI. Because, theoretically, it can pull a lot of case information. It can reference a lot of case law. Like, it has the intelligence to make those connections. But I don't think you could do judge, because there's a human aspect. People would get pissed. Imagine if you're sentenced to life in prison by AI. I just don't think that would happen. Lawyer is possible, but judge... I think there would be ethical issues if people were starting to get sentenced to prison by AI. I don't think so. There are arguments that people might make to say it's more fair because judges have biases, but I think I'd rather a human with a bias than a completely non-emotional AI. I don't know. Call me crazy. Leave your take in the comment. I don't know if that's nuts or not. But me personally, that's the way I lean. So they're probably chilling. This, I'm going to go, what's this, mechanic or something like that. Hot take A. Hot take A. Because... Fuck, dude. Maybe it's S. It could be S. But I think mechanic, like car mechanic, A. And you might say, how is AI going to take this job? The only argument I would have is cars are becoming so much more electrical, like software based, especially as self-driving comes. It's going to be like programmers fixing shit. Now, given there's still going to be hardware, like a battery or engine or tire, like shit's still going to break and you're still going to need these guys, but I think there's going to be new jobs made as we get, like AI cars and even your new car. Like if you've bought a car in the last 10 years, it's so electrical, it's insane. I had a 96 Corolla, and the most electrical thing on that was the fucking radio, and it didn't do Bluetooth, it didn't do shit. And that was the most advanced, and I could pretty easily make repairs on that myself. And now you get cars, and if you're buying a 2025 model, there's so much wiring in those, it's ridiculous. You're not going to be able to work on it yourself. You have to go to a shop, and I think that's going to continue to be the case. It's going to get more and more electrical. So I think AI might have a role in it. Is it going to take jobs? Not a lot. Is it going to make new jobs that it also takes? Possibly. I think that's the more likely case here, so we'll put it at the top. It could be bottom of S, A tier. Yeah, I'll put it bottom of S. I'll put it bottom of S. Probably above. I mean, Baker's so secure. Baker has to be more like here. No, you're not, or I guess chef. Musician. I feel like there's debate on this. I just gave my take on creative fields. You could have some AI music for sure. Like, not out of the picture, but again, it's the same thing as actors. People like artists. They like the personalities of artists. They like what they do outside of music. They like seeing the lifespan, like progression as people put out albums. They like seeing who they work with. They like the voice, the character, whatever it is. Yeah, I think AI can make music. Are there going to be AI artists that grow a big following? I'm not sold on it. Yeah, I'm not sold on it. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Maybe I'm wrong. But I'm not sold on the idea. Pilot. I'm going to go top of B. Given I don't know much about what it takes to become a pilot. This is almost like, is there going to be self-driving planes is kind of the question here. Maybe. Because you already have 2 pilots in the cockpit, from what I know. You have 2 pilots, and then sometimes there's like a backup or a guy who's not actually a pilot. Well, he's a pilot, but he's not a pilot for this flight. This is almost like, are there going to be self-driving planes is kind of the question. I guess self-flying planes. I think it's possible. If everything works together, given that could be really scary, because if you can hack a plane, although you would also still have people in the cockpit. Maybe. Actually, I might even bump this up because I'm gonna group like flight attendants into this. I'm gonna go like bottom of A. I'm gonna move doctor up. Bottom of A, I think, for pilot, because yeah, like flight attendants, I don't think they're. I mean, maybe there's like a snack robot that roams the aisles instead of a flight attendant. But people are such pieces of shit on planes. People are fucking losers on planes. So, I think they kind of want a human to take their anger out on, and they're gonna get more angry if there's, fucking robots they gotta deal with now instead of a person for whatever bullshit ass issue they have. So I think, probably A tier. Cops are going to be similar to firefighters. Arguably, cops are using more AI now. We can go bottom of S. Arguably, cops are using more AI. They're using drones and whatever the hell. But I think there's more cops. Are there going to be more cops in the future than now? I would say yes. I would guess yes. S tier. Above mechanic. Maybe I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna swap those. Maybe some of these can be taken. If you think about like speeding tickets being enforced only by AI and like cameras, parking meters, maybe AI. You just get fucking taxed if it runs out of time. I don't know. It uses your license plate with the camera on the parking meter to just bill you a ticket. Potentially. Yeah, I have to keep it S though. Programmers, everybody knows this is the doomed one. This one is doomed as shit. Everybody knows this. F. Given you're gonna need people to do this still for sure. Bug testing, or you still need some creative direction in some of these programming roles. Like if you're a front end designer, where you like see the website, you see this is a website, this is the front end design, my experience with it, your menus and everything. It's all this is your front end for sure, but the back end is what makes this work, where I can drag this, and you see the little, holographic image. That's the back end. That stuff probably more replaceable by AI than the front end, and designing like user interface. So I think more. This is F tier. People know. I mean, you keep seeing this stuff on Instagram and whatever else. Like, software engineers are boned, and it's because of AI. I mean, they can generate the code. If I wanted to, I could very easily make a website. Not very easily, but much easier than 5 years ago. Make an AI or make a website or an app or a game or anything from scratch, just with AI. So yeah, I'm going F tier. Scientists, I'm assuming that's what this is. Chemist, scientist. A tier. I don't know much about the job, but I don't know if maybe AI could do it. Maybe you would need robots. Maybe the chemists just become like hands for the AI, because the AI can, access everything and it knows what might work. It theoretically has better knowledge of chemistry than even master chemists. So I'm going B. The AI can mix chemicals. It can experiment. Maybe it can. I would. Fuck. This is like, do we think AI will have a brain? Because will AI ever reach a point where on its own, it's like, what if we did this? Is that ever going to happen? I don't know. I don't know. But I think B. Call me crazy. Because, theoretically a scientist goes into their little computer. I want to make a XYZ. And the computer goes, okay, here's what I know. Listen, this is my knowledge circle. I'm going to combine these parts, and try this. And then it says, oh, that didn't work. Try this. So I think there's parts of it that could be AI. Maybe it could be more. Yeah, I think top B is fair. Top of B is fair. Maybe you even move this up. Military. C. Might be even D tier. I don't know. I think people in the army would argue with me on this, or in the military, would argue with me on this. But I think there's a chance. I think there's a. God damn it! I think there's a real. My little fidget toy, my lighter is gone. I think there's a real chance. I mean, especially if warfare moves more digital and it becomes more like hacking warfare, AI is going to take that. But like body, as they say, cannon fodder. You're not going to have AI replace cannon fodder. AI couldn't have stormed the beach on, D-Day. So there's some security, but I think warfare is going to change, which maybe means you need less soldiers unless you're actively in war. Although I know U.S. military enlistment is like ramped up or something. But yeah, I would go C. I would go C tier. There's going to be, because warfare is going to change. So again, same thing. AI is going to make a lot of new jobs and take the jobs, I think. I should say technology is going to make new jobs and AI is going to take them. Again, maybe I don't know enough about war to give you the whole opinion on this. But that's what I would say. I would say C tier. Teacher. See, this is where this could be controversial. My stepmom was a science teacher, so I'm kind of stepping on family toes with this. I kind of want to go C or D. Because, okay, AI will not be able to replace good teachers. If you've ever had a good teacher or a good professor that actually engages you in the content, even if you had no interest in the content to begin with, there are teachers and professors that will engage you in the content, and that is something you can't replace. That is art. That is, I've had history teachers do this. I don't give a shit about some of these history things, and they lock me in. I don't know, they're just really good at teaching. Or even I had science teachers that would do this, or a psychology professor that would do it. And actually the other one was what was that? I had a good accounting professor. I had some really good professors. Operational management. I had a lot of good professors that interested me in content that I wasn't necessarily interested in it to begin with. So that, I don't think you can replace. Irreplaceable. But, just teachers that just get up and fucking yap about nothing, get them out. Get them out. I'd rather talk to an AI. Get them out. I also think teaching is going to change. I was just talking with my roommate about this yesterday. Because, AI has made school completely different. You can do almost any assignment with almost entirely by AI now if you really choose. Everybody knows students are using AI for every assignment, whether it's idea generation or doing the whole thing or the research. Everybody knows. So, the question with school has always been, are you developing knowledge or are you developing skills? It's a mix for sure, but I think now more important than ever, it's the skills, because the knowledge is at everybody's fingertips. You can have infinite knowledge in 30 seconds. So I think the skills are more important, and the skills are going to be, are you good at researching? Are you good at writing? Are you creative? Are you good at presenting? Are you good at, XYZ, connecting with people? I think those are the skills. So I think teaching is going to change. You might end up doing a lot of what was, and I've heard people talk about this. People, shifting from what was homework, your research and your writing, moving that to in class, so people are actually doing that thing, and then assigning the homework at home. So like your lectures, which that is a role I could see AI taking. It's just a video, get some information out. It's almost like a Khan Academy. Here's my hot take. Every college, not every, a lot of colleges and high schools should just take Khan Academy videos, you have the kids watch those at home, and then you let the teacher plan the project, the writing, the research, the whatever, in class. Call me crazy. Call me fucking insane. But that's why it's C tier. That's why I think teacher is C tier. Oops, these are just screenshots of a game. These aren't even jobs. Funny. Vet. I'm assuming this is veterinarian. I'll say any animal related field. Vet, dog walker, fucking anything like that. You're chillin'. You're so chillin'. It's probably like doctor almost too. Can I really put vet above doctors and nurses? And I think I have to. Maybe there's less because people will just go to AI sources to see what's wrong with their dog. Fuck. Can I say that's more secure than judge and lawyer, a vet? I don't know if I can say that. I think it is more secure than doctors. There's probably more roles in a hospital that can be replaced by AI than in a vet clinic. There's also less roles in a vet clinic, so that's part of it. But yeah, I think veterinarian I have to put kind of upper A tier, something like that. I don't think that's too bad. Bankers, tellers, people that work in banks. Watch out. D tier. You're at risk. I would say you're at risk. Like underwriters, whatever else. I don't even have to go into this. I think people just know. I don't know if you go into the bank looking for a real social interaction. You're looking for money. And they have qualifications to give you the money or not. And that's kind of it. Now, I think from the bank's side, they might want people, because what differentiates you from another bank is the people there. You want a potential customer who's maybe getting a loan to like your bank more than another bank. Maybe it's just a trust thing. I'll go C. I'll go bottom of C. I think that's fair. These this I just have as XYZ computer job. D tier. D. So this is, non-creative, non-programming, non-management computer jobs. So data analysis, maybe logistics, other shit, random computer job, I think you're at risk. I think you are. Unless you get really good with some AI tools and you can manage an AI workforce in a company, might be at risk. So yeah, learn to use AI if you're looking to be an analyst or something, because AI is great at that shit. It is so good. You're not gonna analyze data better than AI. You're just not. It can process more things together at once. It can see all the data at once technically. You're not winning that fight. And then this is the big one people have talked about: retail workers. I have a fast food picture here, but I'm gonna lump retail anything into this. B. I kind of want to go bottom of B, because I think there's plenty of jobs in retail that aren't going to be taken, especially for maybe smaller stores. I just, they're not about to buy robots or something. They're not going to get some AI checkout. They're still going to hire teens or whatever. That's cheap ass labor. Now, fast food cashier, bigger chain stores like a Ross or something, or a TJ Maxx, maybe some cashier positions get taken. People even talk about warehouse workers being taken, which both are at threat. Robotics plus AI. Now, I don't think all retail jobs are at risk. Because I think, you go into a mall, the perfume lady behind the counter she's a saleswoman. She's probably been trained in a little bit of upselling or something. They want you to buy something from their place. They might even get a commission. Hell if I know. But I think most retail jobs might be, not most. It's so tough. I think smaller places are probably fine. Bigger places, probably not as much. Just from what I would guess. I think this is the list. Maybe this is generous. Maybe I'm not a doomer on AI is what this is saying. I think you can kind of see the more technological, I guess minus these, the more tech focused things get, the more likely AI is to replace them. That's kind of the list. And you can see labor positions are labor and creative positions are generally more protected. With I think the exception of the doctors and the judges here is because people want to interact with a human on some of those things, especially lawyer or judge. I don't think we could have an AI judge. I think that'd be really ethically or morally question it. I think there'd be a lot of questions raised. That'd be a Supreme Court thing for sure. If there was an AI judge, something involved with that would go to the Supreme Court. It just would. That's kind of the list. And I wanted to run through a couple lists here. This image I found crazy. What shares of workers are most exposed to AI in their jobs? Percent of U.S. workers employed in jobs that are most exposed to AI in 2022. All workers. So this is saying about 20% of people, their jobs are exposed to AI, which I would put in this kind of, and anything from here down, I'd say anything from B down is what we would call, how they term this? Exposed to AI. I guess this says in which the most important activities of their job may either be replaced or assisted by AI. See, assisted here is big, because this means that some people are going to get more efficient and they'll simply need less, versus replaced, which is fired because AI can straight up do your job. Two different things. Those are two very different things. So, all workers, 19%. Men have less. I would assume this is because they're in more labor positions, more construction, plumbing, electrical, whatever it is. I would assume this is the trades, the difference in the trades showing up between men and women here. White, black, Hispanic, Asian. I could get really stereotypical here, and I might as well. Fuck it, it's fun. Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming this is just kind of what races have white collar jobs, and Asians are stereotypically pushed to do more number things, more coding, like your programming, maybe banking, finance, lawyer, doctor. Yeah, I would assume that's how this sorts out. And also just based off what you've seen about demographic career statistics in the past, this is probably just assortment of white collar jobs. But then this I thought was really interesting. As your level of education goes up, your risk to AI goes up. I thought that was really interesting. This graph is very interesting, because this is generally, I think, in the past, money has gone up, earnings has gone up as you go through this, and the amount of technology is used. And then on the way down, I think you get more and more labor. So this less than high school, construction, plumbing, electrician, even same with high school, and I'm sure there's people who are in those trades who have done these other things, but this is interesting. This is interesting, because this is essentially saying, there's now a risk associated with the money you're spending on education. So not only is yes, your earnings might go up as you move through here and get more education, and you're paying to get that education, but now your job is more at risk as you go up. So you're almost paying to have more risk. Now, I guess it depends what you go into from these, like what you actually go to school for. It depends on these. But kind of an interesting thing to look at. I know I've seen clips of people saying, like, tradesmen are going to be the next wave of millionaires. Your plumbers, your construction workers, your electricians. That's going to be the next wave. Your HVAC guys. That's the wave of the next millionaires, because people are going to get good at skills, and you're going to need these things. And they can't be replaced by AI. So I think that's an interesting place to look. The other thing I wanted to show, so this is the labor force participation rate, which is defined by the current population survey as the number of people in labor force as a percentage of the civilian non-institutional population. So like jail, military, I think. The participation rate is the percentage of the population that is either working or actively looking for work. So this could be part of the unemployment number. But I almost like this graph more than unemployment, because you think, how's the job market doing overall? And it's partly tied to the economy. But for me, I would think, well, how many people are actually working? Because the unemployment rate is what percent of the population that is looking for a job can't find a job. And this is what percent of the population is working. And you see that this has gone down since about 2001. Which kind of dawn of the internet, funnily enough. You've seen this go just steadily down. And, we had a massive drop-off in COVID, obviously, and we climbed back up to pretty much where we were here, and we see it slope again. Now, is this AI-induced? Is this economy hardship-induced? Is this the natural curve this would have taken? If this, had just stayed flat, would it have, ticked down between here and here? I don't know. But yeah, I was like looking at this, and yeah, we have seen, let's see, 5 years. We're up 2021, but we have seen the last couple months just drop. We did tick up here, but I think this is something I look at to see what percent of the workforce or what percent of the population is working. And again, all these employment numbers can be weird because the way they're recorded, they exclude certain groups of people. Like unemployment doesn't include people who gave up looking for a job. It's only people who are looking for a job and can't find a job, at least from what I know. That's how I've always seen it defined. So a lot of these statistics can be really weird like that. I mean, this is all employees, total employee count, non-farm, because farm is so seasonal. So you would see these weird like spikes up and down all the time. But yeah, I mean, as the population has grown, you've seen it just steadily go up. Obviously, we're going to be at all-time highs. There's more people in the U.S. than ever before, so you would expect this to be higher. It is interesting. We're seeing this kind of curve flatten out. That is interesting. I mean, you can see theoretically this line has, shallowed out. Maybe, although you always see it kind of wick go up and then stagnate and up and then. This was a really straight line though. This was like the straightest it had been fucking ever. So, maybe we would have seen a natural dip in between here and then this continues to go up, but it does look to be flattening as if like something like here or here or here. Maybe we see a drop. Could be an economic thing. Again, all of these things work in cycles. There will be a recession. There's not a question of is there going to be a recession. It's when. Because everything works in cycles. Humans get stupid and we do stupid things and there's recessions. And maybe it's not even stupid. Maybe it's just the way it is. It's just human nature. So this is part of the picture as well. And then this is your unemployment rate, which for August was 4.3. We see a massive spike during COVID. I mean, you can see it going all the way back. These gray bars are recessions. So you can see unemployment skyrocket during all of these. I mean, you can see this little bar. You can't really see it, I guess, if we zoom in. There you go. You get this short little recession during COVID, and yeah, it just exploded from 3.5 to 14.8. But then it obviously dropped way back down. But yeah, I mean, people try and look at these things to see, oh, is there a trend? Is there a trend here? Can we tell something's going to happen? And it's hard to tell because right now we're still kind of at the bottom of this, which I guess it's kind of ticking up like it did. I don't know if it really did this exact thing anywhere. You could maybe argue like, yeah, no, it doesn't really tick up like this if it's not in a recession. Like, maybe here you could argue is one of the spots, or here, but not really. This is interesting tick up that we get. So that is something to watch. People talk about the unemployment rate. Is it terribly important? I don't know. It's a stat. It's another number. Economists use the number to say things and make claims. But then this was the last thing I kind of want to look at. Microsoft researchers have revealed the 40 most exposed to AI, 40 most jobs exposed to AI. So, they start it with like top 10 least affected by generative AI. And they made a point to do generative here, so that's distinction. Kind of a distinction here. But dredge operators, bridge and lock tenders, water treatment plant and systems operators, these guys already make good money from what I know. Stinky job maybe, but these guys make money. I talked to a guy this summer who made like, $300K or something doing this. And not a glamorous job, but he's like, yeah, I've been moved around the country like 5 times. I keep raising my pay every time. This guy's just kind of done this forever. Foundry, mold, and core makers. I think you see these ticks on Instagram of people in these big steel places. Rail track laying. I mean, again, look at pile driver. These are all like operators of heavy machinery. People that need to be trained. So there's that. And these are all kind of labor oriented. I think these are like high tier. These are just really niche labor jobs in a sense. Now, arguably not all of these are labor, You're not a laborer for some of these, but they're tied in. They're tied in. But then it gives top 40 most affected, and some of these I kind of disagree with. Like interpreters and translators, yes, like that's been coming. People are going to be able to have glasses to translate real time. Historians, sure. Passenger attendants, so flight attendants, like I just said, I don't know if I would put that at 3. I mean, I guess maybe, but people are such cucks on planes, like, I think they're going to flip their shit if they have to interact with a AI. Sales reps of services, I think that's true. Writers and authors, maybe, of like blogs, but I don't think AI is going to be writing like books that really captivate people and are like New York Times bestsellers. I don't think that's going to happen. Customer service reps, obviously. I mean, you already get this. You already have this. And it's just going to get more so as we get like agentic AI. CNC tool programmers, okay. Telephone operators, obviously. Ticket agents and travel clerks, obviously. This one I disagreed with. Broadcast announcers and radio DJs. You saw my tier list. You saw where I put like newscasters. Like, I mean, it's down here. I think these guys are almost, I don't know. I mean, you got like DJ X with Spotify, and that's a thing, sure. That could replace radio DJs. Broadcast announcers, maybe, maybe not. Were there any others in here that I was really, I don't know about. Host and hostess, again, I think people still like the personal of it. But yeah, I mean, look at this, like clerks, statistical assistant, clerk, data scientists, which is analysts, personal finance advisors, archivists, economics teachers. Interesting, that's really high up. Web developers, see, there it is, we talked about it. Management, there we go. Analysts, like this is kind of what I had said. Yeah, we get this list of 40, and those are the big ones. I mean, it's AI is something to think about for the workforce. Like, if you're in school now, definitely think about it. I think personally, at the end of the day, if you are really good at something, if you are just better than 90% of people that do a given thing, you're going to be one of the people that's picked. Sure, there's going to be entire, fields of people that are replaced by AI, but as long as you aren't looking to go there, there will be human people needed in positions, and if you are very good at what you do, you'll always be needed. Again, you're not going to replace a Stephen A. Smith with AI. You're not going to replace, small loan people who need to connect with small business owners and they want to be trusted. You're not going to replace that. You're not going to replace back-end developers or front-end developers that have a really creative idea for a web page. You're not going to replace some of these things. But this is the general list, I would say. Yeah, I mean, as always, guys, like, I went to school, sure, for economics and business. I know a thing or two. I'm interested. I'm not fucking a prophet. I don't know everything. Nobody knows everything. You could maybe even argue AI would have made this tier list better than me. My job might be at risk as a tier list maker, but yeah, I mean, hey, if you enjoyed, sub to the YouTube, follow the Spotify, drop a fucking comment to some bullshit I said in here. Yeah, stay tuned. I'm gonna keep this rolling. This is what I enjoy, so we out here, baby. As always, do not quote me on financial advice. I mean, some of it maybe. I'll tell you if you can. You can always quote my take, my creative AI take that big companies doing bad with people is not going to be worse than AI connecting with people. So you can quote me on that shit, but for the most part, nah. Also, I don't know if this music can be heard in the background. My roommate just started bumping, but yeah. Thanks, guys. I'm gonna stop rambling. Toodles, toodles, toodles.
I see money is the root of all people. Cause we all follow paper trails. And everybody gotta pay their bills. It ain't easy pay. They say money is the root of all evil. I see money is the root of all people. Cause we all follow paper trails. And everybody gotta pay their bills.